Greetings again from Professor Origami at Origami Central here. This is lesson number 4. We're going to do a couple of different things. As you can see, perhaps, the first different thing is that I put the aperture for the iPad 2 at the bottom instead of at the top, so the angle is a little bit different. We have a little bit more table showing, and we'll see if this works better, or at least as good as when we made the flapping bird and the crane. The second thing is that we're going to be making what's called a Pern dragon, P-E-R-N, out of a bird base. This one's going to be orangish red, and we're going to start with the same way we did with the crane and the flapping bird, only we're going to make something very different with just a few and fairly complex moves. I was taught how to make this by a student of mine at a university where I taught. She dropped out of the course eventually, and I never did keep track of her, but she showed me how to make it. She said nobody else ever made it as far as she knows, and I've never seen anyone else who makes it. Flapping birds and cranes are made by just about everybody. It's a lot of fun. This is the Pern dragon, very different from anything that I've made before, and I haven't been able to find anyone else who makes it or any directions for it. We're starting, in any case, the Pern dragon. Same way, split legs down at the bottom, but this time we're going to take the wings, what become the wings in the two birds before, we're going to take them and we're going to stretch them out this way so that we form a kind of, well, I don't know exactly what to call it. Stretch them out flat so that you end up with a flat surface like this. Stretch it out flat with a flat surface like this, and if you put the legs down, you'd have a kind of a tent, I guess, of some kind. In any case, do you have this now, and you have these crossings here, these lines here? Now what we want to do is reinforce the folds that form the square at the top there. So just reinforce them. There's the four lines of the square. Reinforce those folds because they're going to be important in a few minutes. So we have something like this that we pulled flat, and now having reinforced the folds, it can stand up more or less, or may stand up if it is willing and able. But in any case, we have something like this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to push the center of this square, which has the two diagonal folds from before, we're going to push the center of the square downward so that it becomes concave. Push the center down so it becomes concave, and that all the other folds fold inward. All these other folds fold inward, like this. You've got, again, this is the ultimate in coaxing in a way. You've learned how to coax the bird's wings and the crane's wings and the flapping bird's wings and their legs. Talk to them nicely. This is, in a way, the ultimate talking nicely to the origami paper to get this square to be pushed inward, to form a concave surface, and to get the other folds on the sides, the vertical folds, to fold in like this. Now this one happens, mine happens to have folded very nicely right away. Yours may take a few more seconds to work on, and mine usually do too, for that matter. It's different every time I make it as to how willingly it's going to be going folding in this way. So you end up with something kind of like a star, in which we push that square down. And now what we want to do is kind of reinforce these lines again. So fold these folds here down the lines of the star, down the lines of what you might consider the legs. Reinforce those folds so that we have something like this. We have the same star again. Now, we have to run a little test before we make the next move. We have to make sure that at the bottom here, you have open ends at the bottom. We want to make sure that two opposite sides are loose and free. In this case, they are not. Now this is hard to teach. It's not a fold, but you have to see how one of these goes up? Find one that goes up, that's freed up. After you made this fold and push this square downward, find one that's up. And if there isn't, you're going to have to coax it to be up. But there's usually one, sometimes two, that are free. The other three are kind of pinned down because of the way we folded it. Now, what we need to do before we can proceed further is to get two opposite sides that are free, that move up freely. So find the one that moves up freely. Where was that little guy? Yeah, there he was. Find one or make one that folds up freely like this, and then go to the opposite side and make the opposite one, pull the opposite one out so that he moves up freely too. And this involves sometimes reaching underneath there and coaxing that paper out so that it will no longer be pinned under there, the way it's pinned, and so that it's free. Now, that's something that only comes from experience. You just have to kind of experiment with it because it's not a fold. It's a preparation for the next folds. But we have two wings in any case that are free, and two of them, as it turns out, that are not free. But we'll concentrate on the two that are free. Now we're back to the original shape like this that we got when we made that first fold. Now, for all these wings that are sticking out here, we want to open them up like this. We're going to open them up like this and fold them down from the top. Fold them down, forming a kind of mouth, I suppose, in a sense here. But we want to open it up and fold it down like this, so that you have something like this. And you want to do that for each one of them. You see, but it almost looks like a graduation cap. And now when you get one of those folded down like this, and I'll do that again, this one again for you. It was up like this. They're all up the same. We want to fold these down, the top down in this way, and we want to reverse fold in a way. We want to fold this in to reestablish the fold on that one. That's just for confirming the fold. Now we want to do the same thing on all the others, all these other wings. Fold them down by opening them up with your finger, the way we've done in the past. Open them up this way and folding them down, keeping the legs close together and those points together as well as you can. And we want to do that for all four of those points. And then fold this over to reestablish the fold. And then we want to do the same thing with the next wing that's sticking up here. And there are four of them. We want to do that same thing. We want to fold that down. So that he's folded down and the legs stayed as close together as they can, and fold him over so that you establish that fold. And then we're coming to the last one now of the four. The last one of the four. And split him open and push him down like this, the point down, so that he forms a kind of a mouth, and you complete it by going down, 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 right to the center line there, and establish that fold. And now we've got, and reestablish all the folds. So now we've got something that indeed looks like a Christmas tree again, or a spear, and we've got the split legs, but a very unique one. Now, what we want to do now is find the two sides that were open. Remember that were free before. Find where they are. Don't open them up, but just find where they are, and they should be opposite each other, so they will fold up. They will be able to fold out. Check, I got them. Yep, I got them. Okay. And then what we want to do is take the two sides that do not fold out freely, and we're going to do the same thing we did with the legs of the flapping bird and the crane. We're going to fold them up as far as they will go, and they will only go up to this far. We're going to take this and open it up in the same way we did with the other, with the legs of the flapping bird and the crane. Open them up, tip them up this way, reverse fold them so that you get an inside out leg, what we had as the leg before, and fold it right along the edge, right along that edge, so that you get one like this. I'll do that again. Here's the leg. Open it up. Reverse fold it up as you go up with it, and pinch it off like that. And then do it, same thing to the other side. Its mate right across from it, that will also not pull up all the way, but it will only pull up partially. Open that up. Open that leg up with your finger. Use your thumb underneath then and get him to go up like this while you are reverse folding it along the edge of the, I've got mine up a little high here, he tore a little bit there, that rascal. Up along the edge of the top. And you've got what are going to be the neck, or the head and the tail of the Pern dragon. Now, if you've got these, straighten out these other two legs, open up these other two legs so that they look like, so it will look like this. So it will look like this. And now you have the two last legs here, what you might call the legs here, these two last legs. Those are the ones that are free to open. Now you open them all the way. You open them all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. They become the wings. And you have to reverse fold these a little bit. You have to reverse that fold so that they open up like this. So they open up like this. As high as you can make them, and reinforce that reversed fold so that you can make the wings point as clearly and obviously to the sky as you can possibly make it. And we have wings and what amount to two tails. We want to make one of them the head. So you have to, I always do the left side for some reason. So for this side, you have to split that, what was the leg but is now going to become the head. You have to split this neck with your thumb or your finger, fold him down, reverse fold him down as far as you can. This is a one that's going to be very difficult to see because he's down in there. You want to reverse fold that so that you get something that looks like a tail sticking out here, but we want to reverse fold it again at 90 degrees and make the other piece go up, back up, again with a reverse fold, like this, and then another reverse fold for the head. And when you've made enough of these, if this appeals to you and you try making them, you make enough of them, you'll know exactly how you want to do it. And you'll get your own way of doing it. But the idea is you want to make that look like a bird head. And in the Pern dragon, it's based on a series of sci-fi novels set in a world called Pern, as my understanding. I have not read them myself, but I believe this is the head of the dragon and or a rider of the dragon that sits up there. And then you fold the other end down, the symmetrical end down, then he's going to become the tail. So you just fold him down a little bit, again with a reverse fold. And you have then there a Pern dragon. And it's very impressive looking. He does not flap, and you want to get these wings to stay up as high as you can, because the sharper they stay up, the more impressive they are. Ah, it matches my shirt perfectly. I didn't know that. The Pern dragon. Front view, side view, you get that head. Back view. Pern dragon. Lesson number 4 out of a bird base. Crane. Lesson number 3 out of the bird base. Flapping bird. Lesson number 2 out of the bird base. And lesson number 1 was the making of the bird base. We have 3 striking origami animals, and they can do battle against each other if you wish. Remember the dive bomber flapping bird, he can dive bomb the dragon and the crane. But here they are. Congratulations. Professor Origami will be back with other origami animals in the near future. Happy origami.